G'day trendsetters. Today I want to do some lavender cuttings. Propagating lavender isn't all that hard, but there is a few things you probably need to know just to maximize your chances of success. First one is I'm in the middle of autumn, which is probably at the later end of when I can take cuttings for these guys. And these are also spring flowering lavenders. So I'm taking semi-hardwood cuttings of spring flowering lavenders. If you've got a summer flowering lavender, you want to take soft tip cuttings in spring. So because these are obviously spring flowering, I'm taking semi-hardwood cuttings. Why do we take cuttings? Because I don't think I've ever seen a lavender seed. Maybe there is, but main reason is that these are mostly hybrids. So they've been bred from two different plants or from a series of hybridized plants to get this particular plant, and it won't come true. The only way you can get a true clone of this plant is from cuttings. That's why we take cuttings. And the cuttings we want for now, because I'm going to go from here to the propagating bench, is about a 6-inch cutting. We won't use all that. We're going to use the semi-hardwood part. So the harder wood is down here and the softer wood is up here. So we want the bit in the middle. And I need at least, let's say, I'll go for, I've got three pots of 6, so I need 18 cuttings. Let's do that. Another thing, when you take your cuttings, you want to take them from a healthy bush, and this bloke's looking pretty good. I'm going to call it a bloke. I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, but anyhow. So yeah, from a healthy bush, whatever you want to call it, and preferably early in the morning. It's about 11 o'clock of the day now, so I'm not doing as I say, but lavender's fairly hardy. It's you can get away, you can fudge things a fair bit. So I've lost count. I'm just going to keep taking cuttings because I've got a few other things I want to do. This one is Lavender Avonview, or Avonview, I suppose. Avonview. Now, some lavenders have been bred and they've got what is called plant breeders' rights. You usually find it on the back of the tag. There's no indication here that there's any plant breeders' rights for this particular lavender. Some are. If you happen to have a plant with plant breeders' right, this technically means you can't take cuttings, but you can still do a few for yourself or give a few away for friends. But it's mainly to stop mass production and markets and stuff like that. Also, another example, this is a nice little variegated lavender here. So there's no way in the world you'll grow a variegated plant from seed. You'll only get it from cuttings. All right, let's keep going. And I might do for now. If I need any more, I can come back, but we'll head on over to the propagation bench. Let's go. So here we are at the propagation bench, which is merely no more than a table underneath a nice shady tree, but it works for me. A little bit of housekeeping. There's a few things I've got going on. Now, I'm going to do a comparison between just normal backyard propagation, and I'm going to just use a little bit of help. I've got a heat mat here just to see how much difference it makes, and also to show you that if you haven't got all this gear, you don't need it. You can still get by in your own backyard. I've got these guys here. I'm going to put multiple cuttings in these pots. That's what I wanted the 6 for, so the 6 is 18 there. But there's also there's 100 ways you can do it. You can use jiffy pots, you can use sand, In my case, I'm just using sifted potting mix and a little bit of perlite. These I'll just stick cuttings in individual cells. So that, it's up to you, use your imagination. So we're going that, and the other thing I'm going to do is I will cover these guys with a little hothouse thing I've got. That just sits on top. And here, they call this a plant protection dome. But you can call it a cloche if you like, or a little mini hothouse. It will just sit over the top. I'll have to make sure my cuttings fit. And I will do that. So I'll have one pot on its own, one pot here on the heat mat, and one pot with the dome over in a nice shady area. So, having done that, let's get with the cuttings. I need my Clonex, or rooting hormone. There's powders, this is a gel, all sorts of things. Lavenders don't really need it. You will get a strike from lavenders without a hormone, but you'll also get a stronger and more vigorous root system if you do use hormone treatment. Hormone rooting, what do they call it? Rooting hormone gel or powder. Now, the other thing I need is a dibbler. Always use a dibbler. I see plenty of people still taking cuttings and just plonking them in. Not good, don't do it. Doesn't take much to do. Make a dibbler, that's a rose stem, and just before you put your cutting in, you dibble. The other thing is clean and sharpen your secateurs. I've got these files from Shogun Tools in Brisbane, which I'll leave a link for you in the description below. It's a diamond encrusted file, and it does a magnificent. You don't need much, you just got a little rub over the top. Sort of pick the angle that you can see already on the secateurs, and that's all you need. So you can run your fingers over there if the fingerprints of your fingers catch, then you know you're sharp enough. Right, cuttings. Simple as, we don't want the tip, we've already worked that out. That can go. We want a cutting about 3 inches long. So I'm going to take the first of my 2 fingers and grab the top, and then I'm just going to grab my bottom 3 fingers and pull that away. Then 4 fingers is about 3 inches from the top of the cutting, and you'll find a node, which is where the leaf's attached to the stem. And all we want to do, making sure this anvil side is on the waste side of the cutting, which for a left-hander is a bit awkward, just below the node, and that is your cutting. You can trim those top leaves off if you like, maybe just a few more. Only want about 2 or 3 nodes of leaves at the top of the cutting. Dip it into your hormone rooting gel, dibble about half the plant oil. So what's that? It's a 3-inch cutting, so about 1.5 inches. Metric, that's 75 millimeters, which is 35, 37 millimeters. Getting a bit technical now, but anyhow. And that's it. Go nuts. So get rid of the tip. Again, that anvil should be on the waste side. 2 fingers at the top, strip all that away. 4 fingers, find the node, there we go. So semi-hardwood, how do you tell if you've got semi-hardwood? Is by the colour of the stem. So down here, This is quite brown, which is a hardened wood. That'll probably still strike cuttings, but you're reducing your chances. Up here you've got a little bit of green and a little bit of brown. That's semi-hardwood, and of course the soft tip and the tip is this part that's already starting to wilt. So we don't want that. Right, so give me another 20 minutes or so and I'll be back. It looks like 20 minutes has turned into 3 days, which isn't all that bad because 3 days on they're looking rather well. So all I did when I finished taking the cuttings 3 days ago was place them where I wanted them, water them. I just use a watering can, just water them like a normal plant, and I've done that every morning since. If you want, you can have a little one of these little misty things and you can just mist if you want. Probably if it gets a bit hot or something, that's not a bad idea, but they don't seem to matter if you do or don't. The other problem I've had is I plugged in my heat mat, which I'm pretty sure still works, but my thermostat went and then stopped working. So I've ordered another one. It was supposed to be here today. Well, it could have been here today. Hopefully it'll be here tomorrow and I'll get that, hook it all up, plug it in, and then these guys will be on heat. But at the moment they're just normal cuttings, the same as the other ones. But they're doing well. There's no sign of stress or wilt or anything in any of the leaves, so very happy with their progress so far up to 3 days. Also, these are just the normal, what you might do in a normal backyard situation. So I've got a shady tree, I've placed them here. These ones I've covered with the little cloche or plant protector or mini hothouse if you like. These ones are just out in the open, and these are a French lavender that my wife found out that I was taking cuttings of lavenders and said, can you do that one? So that's just the backyard variety, but again, even just sitting in a pot out in the open, they're fine. Not stressed at all. Very happy. If you've got any questions about taking lavender cuttings, then by all means let me know in the comments below, and I will make a follow-up video once these have struck and work out the comparison, see which went better and which didn't work better, and also how I go about potting up these multi cuttings in a single pot. I think that's all I've got to say, so thanks for sticking around to the end if you're still here, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers and bye for now.